Hello, friends. Saul here for another talk. This talk is actually continuing from my last talk, addressing immigration, addressing immigrants specifically. Now, in the first segment, I addressed individuals who are immigrants living in the United States. In this segment, I'm going to address people who are immigrants, or more so, people who don't reside in the United States but still have the right to their own political opinion. Now, if you live in another country, you're not going to be voting, but you still have the right to push propaganda. You can still say whatever you want, and a lot of you have your reasons. Maybe you feel like the current presidency can benefit your country. Hey, I understand. I'm not going to hold that against you. But maybe some of you just are going with it because it's trending, and you think, oh, hey, I want Americans to like me, so I want to go with the guy that everybody's going with. Oh, that's where you'll be mistaken and you'll make a lot of enemies. Now, the people on the far right, the Republicans, the radicals, the extremists, the communists, the ones who want to hoard everything, the nation's wealth for themselves and keep everybody else poor, they're the ones running this country right now. They're the ones who enforced tariffs. They're the ones who want to go to war with everybody, but don't want to help anybody who really needs us. For example, the Republicans want to go to war with Iran, really just for an intimidation tactic, geopolitics. But meanwhile, Ukraine could really use our help. And we're not actually sending troops over from what I know. But yet, we have volunteers going over there and volunteering their service. Now, if any of those people are watching this, hey, I salute you. Thank you for your service. Thank you for serving your country. Thank you for serving us, the United States. But also thank you for serving democracy and liberty for those who can't defend it themselves, or maybe those who just need a little bit of help. You know, they're up against a much bigger country with a lot more manpower. You guys are awesome. I was watching one video of this Marine. He went over and he's currently serving with the Ukrainian Special Forces. That guy is awesome. That guy is a tough cookie. He's a real man because he's probably not even getting paid for it. He's just doing what's right. He's following his heart, and that is a true patriot. That is a true American because that's what we stand for. That's what democracy stands for. Now, Republicans like to go to war with everybody else and use democracy as the scapegoat, as the excuse. They commit war crimes and say it's for democracy. But then when it comes to elections and stuff, democracy is the one they blame for everything. You know, democracy is a convenient excuse for them, a convenient scapegoat for everything, whether it be pushing their agenda or finding someone to blame so that no one's looking at them and, trying to piece together on why, he seemed to be best friends with Jeffrey Epstein. And that's another thing is about democracy is we don't stand for that stuff. We protect women and children. Democrats are the good police officers out there literally protecting their community. They're the firefighters trying to keep their people safe. They're the soldiers willing to fight and defend their nation, not the agenda of the politics, but the men and women who literally will not hesitate to take up arms should they ever feel our nation is in danger. There's a lot of hateful, malicious people who claim to be patriot right now, and they are the least patriotic people I have ever met. They aren't even full-blooded Americans. They're not descended from Native Americans. They're not descended from slaves. Those are real Americans, Native Americans, descendants of the slaves who literally were dragged here against their will and didn't have a say in anything, but were forced to help build this nation with their blood, sweat, and tears, and they did so, by golly, and they deserve credit for it. And then those who descend from the first 13 colonies who fought in the Revolutionary War and helped build this nation. And then I'll even give credit to people who came later on and helped fight for the Union in the Civil War. But if you came over on Ellis Island or you came over after World War II and your grandparents were part of Project Paperclip, they were the bad guys brought over as scientists or whatever and given new lives, you have no room to speak. Don't you dare try to dictate the affairs of my country. When you come over here desperately needing something from us, and then feel you're in the position to point fingers and tell others who come over for the same reasons that they don't have the right? There was a child who was passing away from brain cancer. Trump had him deported. The child died. He didn't make it. So please, don't support one person just because you think that's what all the other Americans are doing. Those people do not represent America. They represent the ugly side of America. They represent the stereotypes that other countries despise about us, but they do not represent the heart or spirit or backbone of America. They're not even the blue-collar workers. They're the blue-collar bosses. They're the business owners. They're the lawyers, the judges, the people who keep us oppressed and poor and struggling and scared and powerless. And they claim to speak on our behalf, but they don't. They only speak for themselves. They only speak for their mansion and their inheritance and their legacy, but they do not care about us or you. And that's why in America, Democrats are being politically persecuted. Literally, we are being hunted down. So please, just know which side you stand on. Don't side with a tie just because you think it's right. Pardon the pun.